Welcome, everyone. I see that I am live. Welcome. I'm so happy that you are here for my weekly Friday live. My name is Femke Bakker, and I'm so happy to discuss this beautiful topic of today, empowerment through compassion. But let's give a few minutes to folks to come in, and I would love to hear from you who you are, where you are in the world, and what it is that you would be looking for in my live event today. So, if you don't know me yet, I'm a teacher here on Insight Timer, obviously, and in my profile you can find my audio tracks. I have dozens of guided meditations there, and since a few weeks I also started to record these lives and then with some small editing publish them also there. So if you want to hear more from my lives, then check my profile out and listen to those. So yesterday one was released which was called Self-Love Isn't Selfish. It was I think a great live where we really dove deep into that idea of what is self-love, or how I like to coin it, self-gentleness. And why isn't it selfish to think of ourselves first and in the first place? In a sense, also today is related to that topic, but that's not so weird because every topic that I discuss here in my Friday lives here on Insight Timer are always about gentle self-empowerment. And that's also what you see in the title, of course, empowerment. But I'm mainly speaking about empowering you. And when I'm speaking about empowering you, it's not so much about setting hard goals and hard targets and pushing you to bring out the best of yourself. Although I don't have any objection to folks who are doing that, my kind of self-empowerment is gentle. And what stands central is that you start to be as kind and as gentle and as compassionate towards yourself as you can be. Because when you start to practice that, then slowly, there will be a shift in your perspective. You will start to see the world from a different angle, an angle in which you are central, but in a really kind way. And from this different angle, you will see the world in a different way, and you will also approach the world and also others in your environment from a different angle. So if you've been following me for a longer time, you might know this already. You know that my lives are always about topics that are connected to that gentle self-empowerment. You know, if you followed my courses, that also these are about going to yourself, dealing, self-reflecting on you, creating awareness of who you are and who you are in this world and how you want to shape this world, and then empowering you to find your own voice in that. So I have a course here on Insight Timer that is about authentic leadership. And don't let the title about leadership misguide you. A leader can be someone who is just interacting with one other person. It could be you and your child. That's leadership. It could be you and your family. That's leadership. It could be you being the CEO of an enormous big company. That's also leadership. So you have to see leadership in a really broad term. And for me, leadership is mostly about interacting with others, being there for others, inspiring others, having a vision for yourself and maybe your environment or the others as a group. So there's another course which is now taken by almost 4,000 students here on Insight Timer. It's called How to Tolerate Challenging Opinions and Behaviors. And it's specifically targeted at you cultivating tolerance towards those that you don't like so much. It's also specifically meant for cultivating political tolerance, but you could also see that in a broader sense. It doesn't always have to be just about political opinions. It can also be about society at large, and the different ideas and folks that are in it. And it's a course where we really dive deep into that topic. I also bring my expertise as a professor at the university. I do research and I teach in political psychology, also leadership, understanding beliefs and how beliefs are guiding our behaviors and decision-making processes. And I also study the impact of meditation on political tolerance. So you see, everything I teach here is a blend from everything that I know from my work as a behavioral scientist, but also what I know as a meditation teacher and as an empowerment coach. My very first career, by the way, was as an actor. I first went to theater school and worked for 2 decades as an actor while I started to study again, and in the end decided to do a PhD and become a professor. But there is a red thread in all the work that I do, because also as an actor I was always looking for understanding why people are doing what they are doing. And that's what I also do as a scientist and also as a meditation teacher. So that's in short my bio, if you're curious at all about that. So I don't know, maybe you were here last week. I want to tell you about last week. Last week we had such a great live. The title was How to Deal with Emotions. And as it turned out, when I started it, there were so many questions, so many people engaging with me, so many different topics within that topic of how to deal with emotions, that while I was in the middle of the live event, I realized this is way too much for just 1 hour. We should do a workshop about this. And when I mentioned this, a lot of you were really, really enthusiastic. So the bad news is that the recording of that live had a technical problem. So I did record it, but there is a terrible background noise. I made a mistake with the microphone. I will not go into details, but as far as I see, I cannot really publish it. The good news is that because I mentioned a workshop would be a good idea, I immediately reached out to Insight Timer and I proposed the idea to them of running a workshop called How to Deal with Emotions, where we can together, eye in eye on Zoom, can really get into the topic. So they're really enthusiastic about the idea. Yay! So we decided to really give it some time. So we're going to organize 4-hour workshop. It's like a half-day retreat. So if you want to join me, it's going to be on the 17th of July. We will start at 12 p.m. It's a Sunday. We're starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Central European Time, my time. So if you're in the UK, that would be 5 o'clock. And you will have to take out at least 5 hours, because the workshop is going to be 4 hours, but we're going to take small breaks in between. So everything together will be around 5 hours. And there we're going to dig deep into all those questions that were raised during my live. So how can I feel more emotions? How can I feel less emotions? How can I control my emotions? How can I understand the message of my emotions? And most importantly, how can I deal with emotions? Because they're suddenly there, they can be so overwhelming. What should I do with those? That's what we're going to address in that workshop. Insight Timer really worked really fast, because just before I went live, I saw that it was published in my profile. So of course, in the next lives, I will speak more about that. I will organize also a Q&A where you can ask your questions, but you can also reach out to me in my meditation group. It's called Femke's Meditation Group. You can also find it in my profile under the About tab. So you can ask your questions there. But if you were there last week and you really felt you want to dig deeper, then I welcome you. Come to my workshop on the 17th of July. So that's more, 5 weeks from here, something like that. So that was the good news. All right, let me just take a look at the comments here, and then we will get to the topic. All right, empowerment through compassion. So let's start with compassion. What is compassion? Well, compassion is for me a very distinct concept from empathy. But when I say that, a lot of people are often surprised, because a lot of people, and you might be also one of them, equates empathy with compassion. Because the idea is, well, when you're empathic and you see someone suffering, for instance, you feel for them, you feel compassion, you feel that you want them to do better. So it's really easy to think that empathy is the same as compassion. But for the purposes of today, for bringing the concept of compassion to you, I would like to pull these two out of each other. And I would like to say that empathy is seeing someone suffer for whatever reason, feeling with them. So you see someone is suffering and you can really imagine how they are feeling. You can almost feel their pain, feel their suffering, or just feel so much pain for the fact that they are suffering, even though you don't feel their actual pain. You can imagine how it must be and you can really feel with them. So, in other words, you are stepping almost in their shoes and you start to experience pain. You start to suffer yourself. Maybe if it's a physical pain from the other, you might not actually suffer the same physical pain, but you basically don't allow yourself to feel good because they are suffering. And for the people that are suffering, this can feel really safe, really good. That someone tries to be in your shoes, that someone tries to feel what you are feeling it with you. It feels as if you are not alone anymore in your suffering. And it's so understandable that when you are suffering, you want to feel this empathy. Now, the problem lies also there, although, everyone or almost everyone has this capacity to be empathic. And there's nothing wrong with that, because understanding how others are suffering and feeling with them is why we help people, is why we support people. But if you are really empathic, or when you're really open or aware of the suffering of others, and suffering, I mean from physical pain to mental health to emotional pain to just having a bad day, just being cranky, not being happy with your job, having a kid that is rebellious, whatever, can be anything. There is also something draining there, because you do understand and see and feel the problem of the other. That's called the suffering, the problem. And you are stepping in with them and feeling it with them. And although for a moment can feel empowering for the person that is suffering, and it might feel empowering for you to feel that you can feel for the other, that's about it. Because then you're together sitting in this problem, being aware of this problem, and there's actually not really a way out. And also you, because you have stepped into their shoes, you've stepped into their suffering, it's really hard to shift your perspective and start to take a look for a solution. Because the truth is, for any problem, as long as you are so aware of what the problem is, and you're staring on it, and you're thinking about it, and you're trying to solve it, and you are holding on to it, in a sense, whether you want or not, you don't allow room for solutions to come. You don't allow that room for bringing in more lightness, bringing in a different perspective. So this is where compassion comes in. So again, you see someone suffering. Rather than being empathic with them, feeling with them, being with them in their shoes, you could take a compassionate stance. So what is then compassion? Compassion is recognizing that the other person is suffering. Seeing that, truly hearing whatever's going on, being aware of the problem that they have. But rather than stepping in their shoes and feeling it with them, you take a little bit more distance from that. And although you can express your support, suppress you being there for them, you are going to hold a vision of a solution, even if you don't know the solution, because generally solutions will offer themselves when there is enough space and room in the life of the one who is suffering. So you're going to be the one who knows that for them. Because the truth is, if someone has a lot of pain, you cannot share their pain to take it away. But you can be there for them, acknowledging what is and opening up a space there where they can start to move towards a better feeling place. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are in chronic pain, and a lot of those people don't see a solution for that because they have to live with this chronic pain. And that's really, really terrible. But they are the ones who will have to find a way to, despite having the chronic pain, still find a joy in life, finding well-being despite that pain. And I understand that sounds like a really, really hard task, especially if you were the one in the middle of it. But it's the best that you can do for yourself. And very often it has to do with accepting that certain things you cannot do anymore, accepting that you have to be more gentle to yourself, accepting that you have to take more rest, accepting that you have to use helping devices to move around, for instance. So this is just one example of what a sufferer could do, but it's really hard if you're suffering to be open for those solutions. But if there are people in your life who have compassion, who can truly be there for you and understand where you are, but also they can hold that space, hold that knowing that for everyone there is a way to finding more well-being. And even if they don't know the solution, because with this compassion and knowing this, having this vision, I don't mean that you have to be the one that has to bring the solution, that have to, be there and say you could do this and this. You don't have to be the advisor. You don't have to be the guide. You can be the knower. You can be the one who loves and sends love and has compassion, but also believes in the capacity of every human being to find their well-being. Because every person has that capacity. And when you're suffering, it doesn't feel like that. I know I have suffered, and I know a lot of people who have suffered, and I also know people who are still suffering. But it is important that every person understands that the power over your well-being rests in yourself, and no one else can create that well-being for you. And when someone is really empathic with you, it might feel as if there is a solution because now you're sharing this pain. But the focus is on the pain, and I mean pain again in the broadest sense. The focus is on the suffering, while having someone who is there with love and understanding for you, but holds that bigger vision. They can create that space for you where you can become more self-gentle, where you can become more aware of your own power, your own ability to find your way to a better feeling. So when it's not chronic pain, but when it's about emotional pain or emotional wounds or suffering from a broken heart because your relationship stopped, or a lot of these other terrible things that can happen in a human's life, there also compassion can come in. So when I say empowerment through compassion, I basically mean empowerment of the one who suffers and empowerment of the other one who is seeing the suffering but doesn't get into the suffering but holds that place. Because And this all boils down to interactions that we have with others. So we're very much so when I speak about self-gentleness and I speak about others and why it's really important to take good care of yourself. So if you listen to that live that I published yesterday, my audio track, why self-love isn't selfish, I really go deeper into that. But just briefly here, when we take that responsibility to take care of our own well-being, and it can be as simple as just listening to yourself what you need in a moment right now, right now, right now. And it might be sleep, it might be binge watching, it might be taking coffee, it might jumping up and starting to run, it might be taking that phone and calling someone you love, it might be all kind of things. But we are so trained not to listen to what we actually need right now, because already as kids we heard behave well, do this, do that, and then you're a good boy, you're a good girl, your parents are happy. And not just our parents, our teachers, our whole environments, and they all do it with the best intentions. But meanwhile, because we're all trained like that, we forget that we can take care of that. We can soothe ourselves, we can take care of ourselves. We basically do not need other people for that. Am I saying that we should not be social? Am I saying that we should not take care for others? No, not at all. Absolutely not. I'm one of the most social person that you know. I love people and I love to help people. It's one of the reasons why I'm here. But how I want to help people is to make you understand first and then feel for yourself how powerful you are, how lovable you are, how unique you are. And with you, I mean every person, every being on this earth. And when we start to not only take the responsibility to feel that, to experience that, we give ourselves such a great gift. And with this gift, we shift our perspective. And with this shift in perspective, we shift our perspective about others, what we can be for others, what we can do for others. So, and this is why self-gentleness and self-love isn't selfish. Like I just said, listen to that live when you want to hear more. So back to the empowerment through compassion. Give it a thought for yourself. I just tell you what I think, how it works. I'm telling you how I try to live my life. And I'm telling you it's really hard. I am very empathic. I tend to feel what others feel, whether I want it or not, whether I have, with my head cognitively decided that compassion is better than empathy. I still feel with others. So it's a deliberate process. It's a deliberate step-by-step process to start to understand that when I take responsibility of me, that I then can offer something so much bigger, so much more valuable to others than when I step into their problem and start to suffer with them. So I would like you to think this over for yourself. Maybe now, maybe later. You can always come to my meditation group and, we can chat about it there if you like. When you are empathic, what are you actually doing? And how would compassion look in your life? How would it be if you would hold that vision for another while still being there for them? I don't say that when you're compassionate that you should abandon them and say, hey, you are responsible for your own well-being, do it. That's not what I mean. What I do mean is being there and listening, but also not taking the responsibility for their well-being upon your own shoulders, but just knowing that they have the power, they have the ability, they have the innate ability to get there. And I know it's hard and it takes a lot of practice. Believe me, I'm 50 years old. I've been practicing this already for a really long time and I'm getting better and better, but it is like almost everything I discuss here, a lifelong work in progress. And hey, hooray! How great is that, right? How lovely it is that we are still growing and discovering and exploring in our lives, that things are moving and happening and that we are noticing that we're getting kinder to ourselves, we're getting better for ourselves, and that we start to expand with our compassion, expand with our love, expand towards others, how others are inspired, how others are touched by the way we are looking at life. So, long story short, let my words sink in. I'm recording them, and hopefully I selected the right mic today. So then it will be published sometime later, so you can hear it again. But more importantly, I want to guide you in a meditation. And it will not cover everything that I discussed, but it will cover the core of compassion. And compassion always starts with having compassion for yourself. Because the way to understand how others are powerful to take care of their own well-being, you first have to extend this courtesy to yourself and send this compassion to yourself. And this really opens up a really beautiful new road. So one of the great meditations to do this is loving kindness meditation. You might have heard me more about it. It's also the one that I researched, that I use for cultivating tolerance. Today, I will use a different practice, but it's in a more abstract sense related to the loving kindness meditation. If you're more interested in tolerance, then next week's live is about how and why we should cultivate tolerance. And there we will start to use the loving kindness meditation. So then you know that already for next week. So I will guide you in the meditation, and then at the end, I'll come back, take a look at the comments and maybe your questions. Yeah? All right. So let's just sit for a moment and relax. There might be some tension in your body, just make sure that you're sitting as comfortable as possible. You can also lie down if that's more comfortable to you. But if sitting is comfortable, you can lean against the back of the chair, or you can just sit up, straight up, if you like that better. Whatever suits you, whatever feels good to you, because you are central in your meditation. You are the boss of your meditation, so make it as comfortable as you can. Now gently close your eyes and just take a moment to experience how you are sitting. You can feel your bottom on the seat, the feet on the ground. Can you feel if your shoulders are relaxed or not? And if not, then just pull them up for a moment and drop them. And if that's not enough, then just pull them up again and drop them again. Check your face. Is there any tension in your face? If yes, then just make a lemon face and relax. Maybe do it again and relax. Now let's use that 1-2 breath that I just discussed at the beginning as an answer to Mary. You're just going to breathe in naturally. That's probably going to be on the count of 2, but if your in-breath is shorter or longer, then really take your time. Just make sure that your out-breath is about twice as long as your in-breath. So I will count for 2. Let's breathe in. 1, 2, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in. 1, 2, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, in and out, in and out. And if you notice that your in-breath and out-breath could be longer, then breathe in on 3 and breathe out on 6. So breathe in and out. in and out. In out. Now continue in your own tempo, breathing in and breathing out twice as long as your in-breath. I will not count, just take a minute or so to do it in your own rhythm. Go ahead. All right, after your last out breath, you can let go of your attention on your breath. Now bring your attention to the center of your head, which is, if you would go to the crown of your head, then in the middle, let your attention sink till right behind your eyes in the middle of your head. And while you're there, you might notice that a lot might be going on in your head. Thoughts or memories, to-do lists might be swirling around there, but that's okay. Your attention can rest here in the middle of your head. While there is some busyness, it's like you sitting on a bench in a crowded park. A lot of folks walking by, kids running around, but you are quiet on your bench. You don't have to engage. Now let our attention sink even further. Let it sink like an elevator going down, or your attention walking the stairs down, or you could see it like a feather that is slowly floating down into your neck, into your chest, all the way to your heart center in the middle of your chest. And when you have reached your heart center, let your attention hover there for a moment. And if it helps, you might imagine that there is a light there. A lovely, warm, colorful light that makes you smile when you think of it. And if you are someone who doesn't fantasize in images, but you fantasize in words or knowing or smells or whatever way you fantasize, then use that ability to fantasize that light in your chest. You might feel it as a warmth, or you might see it as a word. Whatever way you do it, that's perfectly fine. Now, this light in your chest is very powerful. So we're going to let it grow bigger. We're going to let it grow bigger until it fills your whole chest. And what is really helpful is that when you're breathing in, you see the light growing bigger into your chest. And imagine that this is a color of your liking, your favorite color, the color that makes you feel loved and warm and safe. Yeah, so this light is now here in your chest. And I would like you to imagine that just across you stands a person that you really love a lot. So, someone that you love unconditionally. So, it's someone that doesn't raise any doubts or buts or memories of things that they did. Someone that you just love. It can be your pet, it can be a person, it can be your imaginary friend from when you were a kid, it can be a fantasy figure. Make it a person or a being that you feel love for. Now imagine that they are right in front of you. So get a sense of their presence, say their name or see them in your mind's eye. Use your fantasy in your own way. And when you see that they're standing in front of you, you might see that they have a really big smile on their face. So even fantasy beings, even animals, they can show a happy face. So this is what you're seeing. Now remember this beautiful light in your chest, this big ball of light. Now imagine that you make this light into a laser beam and you're sending this laser beam right to their hearts. So it might take you some time, or maybe you're just immediately doing this, but just let that light shine upon their hearts, right towards their hearts, like this big, fat, loving, colorful laser beam of light. And while you're doing this, you might notice that it doesn't stop. It doesn't empty itself. This beautiful light just shines and shines and shines. It's not fatigued. It doesn't become more thin. It's just there, powerful as always. And when you look at them, those people that you love, you can see how they are receiving this beautiful beam of light from your heart. Can you see their response? Can you see that they enjoy? Can you see that they receive? And can you see their love for you? How their heart just fills up with beautiful light and they start to send it back to you. Their own laser beam, maybe it is the same color, maybe it is their color, it doesn't matter. Just realize that they are sending their love towards you now in this big, fat, beautiful colored laser beam of light right from their heart into yours. And also with them, it's like a flow that never ends. It's powerful. It is self-replenishing. It just flows and streams. Can you feel that you are receiving this love? If it's hard for you, that's okay. That's really normal. A lot of people find it hard to receive love. So help yourself a little bit. Put your hands on your chest and realize that this is the place where you are receiving right now from this lovable person right in front of you. So you can help yourself by just telling them, thank you. Can you feel that by expressing thank you, that your heart opens up a little bit? That your heart realizes that it can receive? Thank you. And you might even help yourself more by saying to them, I love you. I love you. And it is as if these beautiful laser beams are responding to these words of thank you and I love you, how they start to pulsate and become even more strong and dense and powerful. All right, now take a moment and let your attention go from these laser beams. They can calm down. And I will tell you something, these laser beams are always going. This is love. Even with you not knowing this, you don't even have to steer this. This is love. This is how love looks in energy terms. This is always going on when you feel love for someone and when you open yourself up to receive their love, even if they are not actively giving it to you. This is there. All right, let's connect back to our own hearts. Bring your attention back to your heart. I would like you to feel that this light is always there and that you can feed it by yourself if you like it. Because one of our problems is when we become empathic, that we lose the power, that we feel that we are depleting our love, depleting our emotions, and that is because we start to focus on problems. So let's connect with our innate knowing that we always have a connection with the earth, with the sun, with everything that is, and that when we restore that connection, that we are filled with so much love and energy that it will never deplete. So imagine for a moment that from your feet and your buttocks, roots are growing into the earth. So use your fantasy again. You can envision it, but you can also just know it, really do it in a way that fits you. And you can see these roots growing into the ground, and it's like trees. They grow deep and they grow wide. So this is really a strong support basis, and you might feel it when you imagine these roots growing into the ground, that you can feel a sense of strength. Now imagine that these roots are growing all the way down into the core of the earth, into this beautiful, fiery core of the earth. And when your roots are connecting with this core, you open up yourself to receive this grounding, strong, nurturing earth energy. So imagine that from this core, all this energy is flowing up now into your roots, all the way up, and you can give it, you can give it a color of orange, reddish, like you might imagine this fiery core, but you can also make it purple or blue or green or white or black, whatever your favorite color is. Just let it come up, all the way up, and then into your feet, into your legs, up into your knees, your thighs, your whole buttocks. It fills your belly. It's really coming fast and lovely into your chest, your arms, and then it shoots out of your fingers. Use your fantasy. Yes, like that. And it shoots all the way up through your neck, into your head, and out of the crown of your head. So it's now like you're connected with this earth energy, flowing all the way up through you. And by using this visualization, you can have a sense of groundedness, centeredness, being supported, visualizing this connection with the earth, our Mother Earth, this beautiful earth that is always there supporting you, knowing that support, feeling that support. That's really, really empowering. Now, if you bring your attention to your heart again, you can feel how that earth energy connects with your own heart power, how it blends, how it is actually part of that earth energy. Earth is so much more than just you, but your loving energy is certainly part of that beautiful earth energy. Now let's bring our attention to the sun above us. Feel the shining on our heads, your beautiful sun. Now imagine that these rays of light, rays of energy are shining on the crown of your head and also dripping into your body, flowing into your body. There's quite some speed, like the earth energy filling your head, your throat, your shoulders, again into your hands, shooting out of your fingers, into your chest, your belly, your pelvis, your buttocks, your upper legs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, into the roots, into the earth. So now you feel this warming, loving, self-empowering energy of the sun, this beautiful life force, how it connects in our heart with our own love, our own heart power. And also now we experience that our heart power isn't all the energy of the sun, but it certainly is part of that sun. And this whole blend of this solar energy, earth energy, our heart energy, it's just blending and mixing and becoming one. Can you feel that this energy in your heart, this love in your heart, is always connecting with this? That you, as a being, part of this earth, part of this solar system, part of this universe, are always connected with these beautiful streams of love and energy and light and empowerment and grounding. So if you ever wonder why your heart feels depleted, then just remember that you just have to open up your awareness that this is always going on within you. You do not have to be aware of it, but if you are aware of it, it's so much more self-empowering. Because when you are aware, you understand that you will not be depleted. Now, last part of the exercise. I would like you to imagine a being in your life that you feel that they need your compassion. It's someone or a being, it can also be an animal, that you have been empathic with very often, and that you have felt sometimes a little bit hopeless about their problems, hopeless about your ability to help, hopeless about your ability to support. So just imagine them. Don't connect to the hopelessness, but if you do, that's okay. We're just going to blast away with that power that you have right within you. So picture them standing in front of you. And if you don't use visualization, then say their name. Get a feel of their presence in your own way. And bring your focus again on your heart space. Feeling how strong and pulsating this is, constantly being fed by the energy of the sun, the energy of the earth, the energy of your heart. And let's just send this laser beam of love towards their heart. And you might see them in their suffering, but it's not necessary. Just take them as they come. They might be suffering. You might have a memory of better times. You might have a vision of better times. It doesn't matter. Just focus on your laser beam of light, sending it towards them. And I really would like you to see that they are receiving it. They maybe allow only little bits in, but that's okay. Maybe they're allowing a lot in, that's also okay. It's up to them to receive your love, your compassion, your knowing that they are so lovable, your knowing that they are so strong, your knowing that they have so much power over their own lives. They might not know it just yet, but you know it for them. But you don't have to tell them, you don't have to explain them, you don't have to convince them. You just know it, and you're sending your love. In this bright laser beam of love, this bright laser beam that is not depleted because it's fed by powers so much greater than you. It's fed by the power of everything that is, and that's also you. Now, you might experience some doubts whether they understand it, whether they receive it, whether they feel it, but then kindly remind you that it's okay, that they are on their path. They are taking life in their own speed. They will know when they want to know. They will feel it when they allow to feel it. All that you have to offer is this powerful knowing, this powerful beam of love and light. And that is truly enough. You don't need to get anything back. You don't need any confirmation from them that they understand it. You don't even need to see any results of your action here. It's okay. It's okay. And if you find it hard, then focus on your own heart for a moment. And focus on this light from the earth flowing to your heart, and the light from the sun flowing down to your heart. And know that you can fill your heart again and send it. All right, now let your attention go of the other person. Bring your attention back to yourself. And I understand that there is a wish to take a look at them if they're doing better. And you can take a look. But if they don't, that's okay. And if they do, that's also okay. It's their responsibility. All you can do is be here and know it for them. Now, bring your attention back to your own heart, and can you feel how it's still powerful? Can you feel how it's still strong and full of love, full of power? If in any interaction with another you feel that this feeling in your heart is depleted, then disconnect your attention from the other and take care of yourself first. When you take care of yourself first, when you bring the connection back to your heart, then you can be there for others. And if you cannot, then you will become empathic and you will be part of the problem rather than the solution. And you know what? If that happens, that's okay. We're not perfect. This is a lifelong work in progress. I'm the last one to tell you that you're doing it wrong. You can never do it wrong. You're always doing it right. Just use your awareness to go back to yourself whenever you can and take care of yourself. And that is basically all there is to it. Now take a moment to let my words drop into your awareness and feel it out, where it is in your body, how it feels. If it's really new, it might feel a little bit awkward, and that's okay. Maybe it feels really strong, supportive. That's wonderful. Try to remember how it feels so that you have a reference whenever you are in a situation where you need to appeal to this knowledge that lies deep within. And believe me, you have this knowledge. It's always there. And if it feels like new information, it's just because you weren't listening for some time to your soul, but it's there, always, right there for you. All right, now you can let go of your attention. Keep your eyes still closed and take some time to come slowly out of the meditation. So you can do it by moving your fingers and toes, stretching your spine. Maybe stretch yourself a little bit, maybe yawn. And then really in your own time, you can start to slowly open your eyes, but take your time.